Namaste, everybody. Welcome to 10 Minutes with Dr. Marc Halpern. I'm Dr. Marc Halpern, and I'm honored to share this time with all of you. Today I'm going to be talking about healing trauma, an Ayurvedic and Yogic perspective. Let's begin by talking about what trauma is. Then we'll explore what it does to our bodies and our subtle bodies. And then we'll talk about how to heal it. So trauma is really any strong event that injures you on a subtle energetic level. Now, there are so many different kinds of trauma. When we think of trauma, we generally tend to think about the worst traumas of our lives, or the worst traumas that we can imagine for other people. Physical, sexual, emotional abuse. These are terrible traumas. There's so many other kinds of traumas. There's the trauma of living through the event of a fire. There's the trauma of losing a loved one. There's a trauma of losing a job. There are so many different kinds of traumas that we're exposed to. The trauma of disappointment. So many children are traumatized because they have hopes and expectations that aren't fulfilled. Each of these traumas is an injury to our subtle body and the flow of energy in our subtle body. Ayurveda and yoga understand that we have three bodies: a physical body, a subtle or energetic body, and also a causal body or a karmic body. The damage occurs in all of these bodies. But what I want to focus on right now is the subtle body. Ayurveda and yoga understand that the subtle body is made up of 72,000 nadi or subtle channels. Prana or life energy flows through these subtle channels. One of the ways to understand health is to understand that when prana is flowing naturally through the 72,000 channels in a healthy and balanced manner, that we feel optimally healthy, we feel peaceful, we have peace of mind, we have optimum health. Whenever it's disturbed in any way, it's going to compromise the health of our body and also the health of our mind. It disturbs our thoughts and our feelings. A trauma is like an impact into the flow of energy, and it ripples through all of the nadis in our bodies. And so it disturbs the functioning of the organs as well as the functioning of the mind. Because of our karma and because of our traumas, we all have disturbances in the flow of prana through the 72,000 nadi. In many ways, we can say that they define who we are on the physical and emotional level. Now, most of us, or all of us, are naturally kind, loving people who are balanced and peaceful. But once that energy is disturbed, we have the absence of love within ourselves. And that manifests in the ways in which we behave, as well as in compromises to our health and well-being. For instance, because of trauma, you may react to the world with anger. Because of trauma, you may react to the world with fear. Because of trauma, you may react to the world with sadness and depression. It affects the way we think. It affects the way we feel. The way we think and the way we feel is a reflection of how prana is moving through the 72,000 nadis. These subtle channels can be considered to be the channels of our mind. In Ayurveda and yoga, we understand that the mind is not here. This is just a processing center for the flow of prana through the 72,000 nadis that move through our entire body, from our toes all the way to the hairs on our head. And so while we imagine that the mind is here, it's really the sum total of energy moving through our subtle body. So when it's disturbed, it disturbs our thoughts, it disturbs our feelings, and that impacts our behaviors, and it also impacts on the physical level how our bodies are going to function. This is why there is what's called the mind-body relationship. It really should be called the energetic body and the mind and the physical body relationship. In other words, how energy flows through our subtle body impacts our mind and it impacts our physical health. Compromises in any organ in the body are reflected also in a compromise in the way in which prana is flowing through the mind and the subtle body. Now that we understand that, let's take a look at how we can heal the disturbance in the subtle body. Our goal is to restore normal flow of prana through the 72,000 nadis. If we do that, we become kinder, more loving individuals. Our physical body heals, our subtle body heals, and even our lives heal. Our relationships improve, our desire to be of service becomes natural and at ease. In fact, we could say that everything becomes at ease. Ayurveda and yoga use many different tools in order to bring healing to the subtle body. One of the most powerful ones is Yoga Nidra. Yoga Nidra is an incredible way to restore the flow of prana through the 72,000 nadis. It's a beautiful practice of conscious, deep relaxation and then the use of awareness and intention in order to normalize the flow of prana. Now, I can't go through that in detail in a 10-minute video, but you can go ahead and look up my past work in Yoga Nidra and self-healing, and I'm sure that you'll be able to find out more information about how to use that, and you'll even be able to download a recording that'll guide you through that meditation practice. Meditation in general is very healing to the subtle body and the 72,000 nadis. In fact, yogis understand that when prana is flowing absolutely at ease through the 72,000 nadis, awareness increases and we realize our greater connectedness to the whole. With that, we become more unconditionally loving human beings. Yogis and practitioners of Ayurveda also utilize pranayama, which is breathing techniques. There are breathing practices that can help to restore the normal flow of prana in the body. One of those practices is called alternate nostril breathing. Go ahead and take a look at my additional videos and you'll see instruction on how to perform alternate nostril breathing. Another technique that's used to restore the normal flow of prana through the 72,000 nadis are the body therapies in Ayurvedic medicine. Ayurvedic massage, and particularly a technique called Shirodhara. Shirodhara brings quietude to the mind. Anytime we treat the mind, we're also treating those 72,000 nadis. So the oil that pours directly onto the forehead in the practice of Shirodhara is going to impact the flow of prana through the entire subtle body. That's why Shirodhara is so profound. It heals the body and it heals the mind. It heals the subtle body and it heals us from the multitude of traumas that we've experienced in our lives. These techniques are extremely powerful, but they're very difficult to stay consistent with because trauma is addictive. Now, I know that's a funny thing to say, so let me explain that. What I mean is that the pattern of flow that gets established in our subtle body wants to return back to the pattern that is known. There's a saying in the West, the devil you know is better than the devil you don't know. Well, the devil you know is the disturbance in the flow of prana. We can become identified with the trauma. We become identified with the anger or the fear or the way in which it's disturbing our lives. The devil you don't know is the unknown, and that's your balanced natural self. Each of us are naturally harmonious, naturally kind, naturally loving. This is our true nature. But we don't know really how we would be if we were fully expressing that. We're so used to not expressing that, especially because so many of our traumas have been around for decades. It takes some faith. It takes some patience. We're going to have to do the practices, and we're going to have to do them again and again. We have to establish a new pattern within our subtle body, and that takes time. The way in which prana flows through us follows what's called our samskaras. These are the patterns that are established within us for how prana will flow. Trauma creates new samskaras. Eventually, we identify with them. We want to return back to our true self. Our true self is where prana is flowing freely. We are not our trauma. Our trauma is a disturbance that is preventing us from being who we are. It's preventing us from seeing ourselves for who we are and seeing the world around us for what it is. We are truly beings of love and beings of light. The world around us is also the expression of love and the expression of light. As we heal from the multitude of traumas in our lives, we come to see the world in this way. We see ourselves in this way. And the experience of that is optimal health, peace of mind, and an open heart. And that is what I wish for you. Many blessings to you on your healing journey. Be well. Be kind. Be love. Namaste.